Well, hello everyone. This has to be one of the quickest turnarounds I've ever seen a major company do for their UI when it comes to a platform. I mean, just 6 months ago, I was sitting here recording my thoughts on what was to become the 2023 Xbox dashboard update. And in that video, I expressed my concern for the direction that Microsoft was headed in. I was very disappointed. It felt to me that all they did was increase the size of the tiles. They increased the amount of advertising that you saw on the screen and integrated Game Pass directly into the home layout. It just felt to me that there was such a focus on like the content that you saw and as I mentioned before, like not the art that encompassed it. And they took away a lot of customization features as well. It was more similar to what you would kind of get if you just opened up like a Hulu, Netflix, or any of those streaming services. That's what it felt like. You just had all these things right in your face, this abundance of different genres and just content directly to you. And it was quite overwhelming. And again, they took away a lot of customization features on top of that. So a lot of people were very disappointed, including myself. And Microsoft listened, and yeah, as you guys can see, this is what will become the new, I believe, holiday 2023 dashboard update for the Xbox Series consoles. I believe this is also coming to Xbox One still. So it's not a native Xbox Series X dashboard, although let's be honest, Microsoft has made it abundantly clear at this point that they want to have parity and a similar experience across their entire suite of Xbox. Xbox is not a device, it's a brand, it's an ecosystem, and it should be the same basic user interface, the same layout across all their devices. That is kind of the direction that Microsoft is headed in. With that being said, though, we're going to take a look at basically the update here. I'll mention this right up front because I always get this comment whenever I do these update, dashboard tours. Everyone always asks me, how do I get the update? How do I download this? I don't see this on my console. You have to be part of the Xbox Insider program. You can join this for free. Go online, go to Google, just type in Xbox Insider and sign up. You will not get this dashboard immediately. You have to go through kind of a vetting process, and Microsoft actually will encourage you to participate in different feedback events. Make sure you do all that. I've been a part of the Xbox Insider program for, at this point, since 2014, since it basically started, and it's how I got all these dashboard updates ahead of time, so I was able to do videos for you guys. But I always want to put that out there because people aren't really paying attention when they watch this. They just see the layout, and I always get these comments like, how do I get this? It's part of the Insider program. It is not rolled out to everyone yet. This is still very much in beta, and we're just taking a look at some early features and a first look at what this dashboard should really encompass. So just want to get that out of the way. All right, they didn't really change much in terms of the feature set and new added apps or anything like that from that previous video I looked at. So it's mostly just the layout of the actual dashboard, the home screen that we're seeing here, but mostly everything else is unchanged. So we're going to be kind of going through this. This is going to be a much shorter video compared to the last one. Okay. So immediately, here we are on the home screen. As you can see, they shifted everything down. They've decreased the size of the tiles, and they added a bit of dynamism to it as well. So as I start scrolling through this, as you can see, depending on my selection, it actually increases the size of the tile, brings it more, in line with, I think, a more dynamic and more next generation feel. And I pretty much like this. Now, if I go down, you're going to see that all that stuff that we saw in that previous video about Game Pass being integrated into the home screen, that's still very much a part of this UI. However, I have to say that if you just go back up, it's almost completely invisible. You don't even know that that even exists until you start scrolling down and you start seeing, oh yeah, here's all your categories, here's all your, ads and different things like that. Again, this is not dynamic, so it's not like if you play a lot of RPGs, you're going to get nothing but RPGs recommended to you. It's basically whatever Microsoft decides to push updates and, certain games, depending on what they want to showcase here. It's entirely within their control. So it's not dynamic, and it's based off whatever Microsoft wants to put here. You still don't have the amount of customization that you had before. So while you can pin stuff to the home screen, certain games, and we'll take a look at that in just a bit, you still can't move things around. So that is something that you're going to have to just keep in mind with this new layout. But I have to say, it could be largely ignored. You still have your 3 advertisements right here, as well as a brand new home button, which has now been increased in size. They took away the My Games and Apps button as well that was here. So that's been moved to the very top. You have now a top bar, navigation bar. So you can largely ignore all that stuff at the bottom of your screen. It's completely inoffensive. It doesn't make any point to say hey, scroll down. It's kind of invisible when you're just looking at the basic UI right here, which I have to say I really like. Now, up here, your navigation bar, this has been actually added for this UI. And I thought before that these were pages that were very similar. If you guys may remember that the Xbox One had its NXE dashboard update, which kind of this update very much reminds me of, where you could actually use the left and right bumpers to tab over between the different pages. Unfortunately, these are not pages, so if I use the left and right bumpers right now, they don't do anything. These are actual buttons that open up applications. So your My Games and Apps is still an application. It's still, it brings you to your My Games and Apps page right here, but it's not like it's always open in the background. As far as feedback goes for this, I very much like this new navigation bar. I like what they're going for right here, but I would like to see it kind of always running in the background. So if I push left bumper, it should immediately, bring me like this whole page should shift to the right, and then it immediately brings me to basically my Games and Apps section, where I can just kind of select and take a look at all the games I have installed on this console here. And same thing with the store. In fact, this is actually kind of redundant because you have a store button here as well as a store button here. So maybe instead of having a store icon here, they can have a social icon, and it can just bring you to a list of all your friends, because this is basically the same. It's redundant at this point. I can go to the store here, or I can go all the way to the top and go to the store here. Again, this is all in beta. Microsoft is still looking for feedback, so it isn't final, but you can kind of tell if they kind of quickly put this together, that probably the UI team kind of freaked out at all the negative feedback that they were getting, and they just kind of rushed things together and kind of looked at what people who were doing concepts and different kind of renders of what they wanted from a Series X UI. This looks more closely aligned to that, but you can tell that they kind of put this together very quickly. So, you have your Game Pass button here. It takes you to the Game Pass app. Your search, this is still the same thing. It's remained unchanged. And then, of course, your settings button, which is up here. So it's pretty nice. Again, I would just like to be able to tab over left and right. So you should have a home icon here, and maybe to the left it says Game Pass, or maybe to the left it says My Games and Apps, then it's Game Pass, then you have your search and settings right here, and I can just kind of tab over, and it would slide the home page from to the left or right, kind of like an old school 360 Blade style, or even, as I mentioned before, the NXE update for the Xbox One. That was my favorite UI for that console, and they got rid of it with the latest update that they have right now for the Xbox One systems. But I really like that previous update, so I want to bring an element of that back. I think that would be really cool if they just have the ability to tab over between the different pages, and again, it slides the home screen left and right depending on where you're going. That'd be pretty cool. And I like pretty much everything else here. I would like to have a little bit of more dynamism to the actual icons here. So while I love how these things kind of, blow up depending on what your selection is, they scale up and they scale down. That's pretty cool. I'd like to see something again, just a little bit more of a dynamic feel to it. So what if we had animated icons? That would be very, very cool. So maybe in the background behind Isaac here, the smoke behind him, you saw the smoke actually moving, the lights flickering in the background. That'd be pretty cool. Or something like a Dragon Ishin, where the leaves in the artwork would start kind of blowing and you start seeing some type of animation play just when you're hovering over the actual game itself. Like Hi-Fi Rush, the colors start flashing in the background. I don't know. Just something where you have a little bit more of a dynamic feel. And depending on, let's say you have a game running in the background, because understandably so, if you have animation that's going to take up more system resources, maybe turn off the animation when games are playing. You just have static icons. But it's something where if you have all your games closed, you're just on the UI, you're not currently running anything. Something where you have actual dynamic icons here that are animated and kind of blow around. Maybe Amicia's hair here kind of flows, depending with the wind, or I don't know, just something where you start to have some type of actual animation depending on the selection of the icon you have. I think that would be pretty cool here. But I like everything that I'm seeing so far. Again, it's more closely aligned to what we were kind of seeing with a lot of what a lot of fans were doing with the conceptual renders and stuff like that. That they did, some of those guys did a lot of creative stuff and made those UIs look, very kind of next generation, very modern, very elegant, and they had a lot of motion and graphics and just animation playing and stuff like that. So I feel like we're definitely headed in the right direction here. It's a big improvement on what we saw with the previous update, but I still would like to see a little bit more added here. I like all of this, but like I said, I want to have stuff open in the background so I can tab over between the different pages. That'd be pretty cool. And then something where you actually have animated icons as like a nice to have, but I think definitely, because when I go up here, when I see these icons up here, I consider this stuff is actually running in the background. But like, why not just get rid of the store icon up here, since you already have it down here? Get rid of the store icon, move Game Pass over to the left, and then just add a new home icon right here, and you can just tab over between the different pages. I think that would actually be a much better use, and all this stuff is running in the background, so it doesn't take any additional time to actually open up and load. I think that would be a very good use of the actual user interface, and again, it would be different structurally to what we have now, instead of just opening up constant applications and different windows and things like that. So all right, yeah, I mean, that's all there is to it. Like I said, this is going to be a shorter video because besides just changing the layout of how this looks on the home screen, mostly everything I covered in my previous video kind of works. But I mean, as you can see, this is a big change. Even if I go here, and as I mentioned before, I'll start actually adding things to my home screen just so we can kind of take a look at how this is displayed. So if I go back to the home screen here and start tabbing down, now your actual additions that you made to the home screen, they're displayed right here. They're more closely aligned to the top of the screen, but they'll always be displayed below the new games here. So you actually still can't move these around. You can change the I guess the order of how they display down here, but again, they will always be displayed at this portion. So you're always going to have to go through the most played games here, or the new games, or whatever it decides to put here. You always have to scroll down a little bit further to actually get to whatever your pins are. So there's still less customization, so keep that in mind. But I think that in terms of the backgrounds, I mean, last video we took a look at the Vault Tech armor, and so if we just open this again, if I take a look at the power armor for the Fallout 25th anniversary background, before we couldn't even see his face. And as you can see, yeah, that's a lot better. We can actually see a good view of the power armor. We can see the entire helmet. The motion, the animation is actually playing. We see the smoke down there, which is like kind of behind the icons. That's pretty cool. So it's definitely headed in the right direction, I feel. And they've added even more backgrounds now that kind of showcase in a good example of basically what the improvements that they've made to this dashboard bring. So as you can see, yeah, this new Ghostwire Tokyo background, we can now see a full view of the enemy here, with the whole nice night rain-soaked city of Tokyo. So pretty cool. Again, I like what I'm seeing, but I still think there's a bit more room for improvement, but definitely headed in the right direction. This is much better than what we were seeing previously. And yeah, I'm actually interested to see what you guys think, who may not have this dashboard or who do. And, let me know what you guys think in terms of having tabs for pages, like across the different top bar here, and animated icons, depending on what you're hovering over. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will talk with you all later. Have a good one.